Hello, friends, and welcome to a very special edition of the Happy Half Hour. That's because this edition of the Happy Half Hour is brought to you by our friends at Deep Eddy Vodka. Look at that, will you?
I know. What a nice, pretty little new sponsor.
Check out that Panthers tailgate pack.
That is cool.
Lemonade-flavored vodka. They've got a cool deal going here. It's the Deep Eddy Vodka Sweet Sip Sweepstakes. That's easy for you to say, especially if you haven't been drinking Deep Eddy Vodka at this point in the day. But
Say it after you drink it.
You can craft your perfect game day cocktail and win big. Check it out. The Sweet Sips contest invites you to mix your dream cocktail to possibly win the ultimate game day experience. You can enter between September 15th and October 26th. 5 lucky fans win 2 tickets each to the Deep Eddy Vodka Suite, access to one Carolina private suite, and a VIP experience at the Panthers-Saints game on November 9th. And, of course, exclusive Deep Eddy swag, which we're waiting on here because we'll do anything for a free T-shirt, as you well know. So check it out right here. You can see it behind us. You can push this button and enter now. Look. I can't drink.
Can Matt go in and post and make sparkles come out of the TV or something?
I think that would be outstanding. I think the Google would work if I push that button on that
look
screen.
At there!
Look at that.
Oh, that's what we need.
Woo, it's like a disco in here. That's the kind of party you have with Deep Eddy Vodka. So anyway, at some point we should talk about the football because that's what Deep Eddy's paying us to do here, right?
You enjoy Deep Eddy at the football game.
That's
or
right.
before the football game at the tailgate.
Good tailgate action.
Yeah.
So, and you do get to tailgate this weekend at home here, Bank of America Stadium on Sunday at 1 o'clock against the hated Atlanta Falcons. I guess they're hated. Pretty much
Sure.
everybody is the hated whenever the Carolina Panthers are playing them at this point. But
Right.
the last time we saw these guys, things worked out pretty well. All of a sudden, everything was working out. Everything the Carolina Panthers tried was turning up, and, you win in overtime on a Miles Sanders touchdown. But Bryce Young had, by the way, the best day of his professional life.
Yeah.
Threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for 2 more. I think they ran for 155 yards behind, by the way, a line that featured Chandler Zavala at right guard and Cade Mays at center. Everything old is new again. But, yeah, as you might imagine, getting Bryce Young on that topic didn't yield much the other day because Bryce is not
looks ahead.
He's not a big look back guy. No matter how good the thing is, he's looking back at. So
what's interesting too about this game being this early in the season, obviously, I mean it's a divisional game. You want to win your division games, but that game last season was a Week 18 game. This is Week 3. As far as the football calendar is concerned, it has not been that long since these two teams faced each other. But I think you could argue also two still very, very different teams in that amount of time. Atlanta bulked up their defense and their pass rush a lot this offseason. Panthers look to do the same. Michael Penix and Bryce Young gave us a quarterback shootout last time they played each other. Is that going to happen again this year? What have they done differently? I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it looks like because, like you said, last time these two teams faced each other, they gave us a show.
Yeah, and you may or may not remember me saying this last January, but I was like, I could watch this game twice a year for the next 5 years with
exactly.
no problem whatsoever. So
and
entertaining football is entertaining.
It was a huge offensive shootout, like we said. It went to overtime. It was, 44-38 final. But there were some really good defensive stops in that game, too. Mike Jackson had an interception that set Bryce Young up for a really easy touchdown. And so what does that look like this year? What does the defense look like this year, too, is what I want to see. That was a long walk to say that.
Well, I mean, literally, when we say the Falcons changed things up on defense, they didn't even send their offensive coaches to Indianapolis for the combine. They were like, y'all good. We got this. We got this. Don't worry about it. Y'all stay at home and work on plays for Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson, because that's where we need you to be. But they revamped that thing. They go out and draft Jalen Walker in the first round, trade next year's first so they can get back up and get James Pierce from Tennessee. That was a statement of intent. If you were curious what the Falcons meant to do this offseason, that ought to have told you. So it's going to be interesting. They've got veterans around there, and Leonard Floyd. He's a trusted agent of Raheem Morris and, one of those old heads that a young team needs there. He's kind of like their Ashawn Robinson in a lot of ways. And so it's going to be a different defense on both sides of the ball, really, because one of the things I was looking up the other day, the Carolina Panthers, as you might remember, weren't exactly healthy or deep on defense at this time last year when they were playing the Falcons. there were 13 dudes who took a snap in the defensive front seven. I mean, the secondary back, Mike Jack and those guys, they're back. That's all well and good. But in the defensive front seven, 13 dudes took snaps for the Carolina Panthers that day. How many of them do you think are still on the roster?
Well, I'm looking straight at your sheet so I can cheat.
That's right.
4.
And also because you did your homework. I mean,
yes.
She's an avid reader of Panthers.com as well as a contributor to it, so she knows all these things already, as you should too. But, only 4 dudes, DJ Wana, Mayshawn Robinson, Jaden Crumity, and, of course, Thomas Nkum, the special teams player extraordinaire, snuck in there for a snap during the end of that game. But not a lot of carryover, and that's on purpose. I mean, they went out. We've talked about it this offseason. You go out and spend all that money on the first day of free agency on Bobby Brown, Tershawn Wharton, Christian Roseboom, Trayvon Merrick, and it's just you realize the intent. Pat Jones was also part of that mix on the first day of free agency. They did that on purpose, and what you saw the first 2 weeks is actually a pretty remarkably improved product for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
I mean, getting inside the numbers a little bit, what you've seen the last couple of weeks, obviously the Jacksonville game got sideways right there on the other side of the weather delay with the big 71-yard run. But other than that, they've played pretty sound defense. Last week against the Arizona Cardinals was great run defense as far as I'm concerned. I mean, one explosive run by Kyler Murray, big 30-yard scramble. But other than that, 52 yards on the ground to a team that's got James Conner on it. That's very different than what we were talking about that time last year when you saw the Cards.
Anytime you can hold Kyler Murray and James Conner and crew, because there were a couple of people that got carries to 82 yards total, you're walking out of there with a good day, a good performance to build off of. Do they narrow that down even more this week, or does Bijan come out and do what Bijan does? We'll have to see. The key is going to be to kind of get back there and affect Michael Penix. That's always the key. But especially a guy that this will only be his 6th start in the NFL. So he's still relatively raw. He is incredibly talented. That is where he can hurt you. He doesn't run a lot, but when he does, he makes it count. He's willing to stand back there and deliver. He's got a great arm. But he is still learning defenses. He's learning how to read defenses. Is that where you can take advantage of it? You would hope so if you're the Panthers and Ejiro Evero. And then also, going back to the other side of it, because I looked it up because I felt like they were pretty high up there. The Falcons are 5th in the NFL in sacks with their pass rush. They have 7 sacks so far through 2 games. That's a pretty good little average already. That's what, 3.5? I'm making me do math. 3.5 sacks a game. That's a nice little average.
Hashtag girl math. Hashtag Cassidy.
DJ Wanham probably wishes that he had gotten credited with a couple more so the Panthers could be higher on this list.
Yeah.
But, Kyler Murray called a runner, so DJ Wanham didn't get those sacks. He got those tackles for loss.
Yeah.
But yes, a stronger team on both sides of the ball. Are the Panthers stronger as well? We'll find out.
Yeah, that's right. And, it's interesting. I mean, I think a lot of focus obviously going to be on the offensive line this week because you put 40% of your starting line on injured reserve on the same day in Rob Hunt and Austin Corbett. Not great, Bob. But the good news is these are known commodities. These are guys, Cade Mays and Chandler Zavala, who've been in this program for 3 and 4 years, who know all the guys they're playing with. So there is a degree of comfort. I was cracking up yesterday in the locker room talking to these dudes about it because, you ask them about the football stuff and they'll say the boring football stuff. But I started asking all the other guys on the line and then each of them about fun facts about things you might not know about Cade Mays, things you might not know about Chandler Zavala. And watching the rest of the offensive line go to work on poor Chan it almost felt unfair. It was something less than bullying because we would never do that here. Right. But this is a supportive workplace. But Chandler Zavala, in case you didn't know, is the son of a celebrity chef. His dad was on Chopped.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's won Chopped like 6 times. He's gone up against Bobby Flay on TV. I mean,
did he beat Bobby Flay?
I don't know that he beat Bobby Flay.
It's hard. Bobby Flay wins like 90% of the time on that show.
Bobby Flay's really good at the cooking, as it turns out. Yeah. So, but apparently so is Demetrios Zavala, and Chandler is apparently a pretty good cook, except he never cooks for them.
I would be so upset. That's like going to Bobby Flay's house and him being like, okay, we're going to order takeout.
That's right. We're ordering takeout tonight. We've got Bojangles on the way being door-dashed here. And as much as you like Bojangles, yeah, it's like a letdown. But Cade was very offended by that. Cade was hurt.
I would be too.
He said, Chandler's been here 3 years, and so far I'm 0 for 2 on Thanksgiving invites. I don't know. Maybe this year will be the year. Cade felt so hurt. I kind of laughed. Corbett walked by and saw what was going on, and he said, it's just selfish behavior. That's all it is. So... Poor old Chan. Chan gets picked on.
Have a point.
Chan gets picked on a little bit, but Chandler Zavala is a kind soul who will do nearly anything. It's like, Chan, you want to try this schnitzel for German food video? Oh, yeah, I'll do that. You want to put on lederhosen, go to Germany, announce draft? Sure, come on. Hey, we got goats in the yard. You want to do some yoga? Yeah, sure, come on, let's do that.
Sure,
so Chandler will do anything and go along with it, but those guys were having a little fun with him. I do think there is something to be said for that chemistry. I mean, something to be said for that level of comfort with dudes.
Right.
You're really only going to make fun of people you either know well, deserve it, or like.
Yeah.
And I think 2 of those 3 things apply here at least. So, just seeing those guys being willing to razz each other a little bit, have a little fun. They know the situation in front of them. They are well aware that the Carolina Panthers are 0-2. And everybody's kind of looking at them, pointing at this point. But to still be able to have a little fun, to be loose enough to joke with each other, I think that means something. It's not everything, but it's not nothing either.
For sure. And to your point to build on that, too, like you can kind of change the narrative a little bit this weekend along the offensive line for Bryce, for the defense. This is a chance to kind of change it. Because I think a lot of what is getting pointed to and said is still relative to what's happened the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. If you look at the 0-2 start, just in these 2 games, it is a different 0-2 than last year's 0-2.
No doubt.
And so it's if you're like, a good thing I don't work in words. I can't think of the word I'm trying to look for.
You didn't sneak into that Deep Eddy, did you?
I told you we don't do it in public. Anyways, if you look individually at just these 0-2 games, then there is a different narrative to be told than if you were looking at the past 2 or 3 years.
Right.
And so can you start to define that and narrow that this weekend?
Yeah, no doubt. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, that offense, they've talked about over and over, you got to start faster. You can't turn it over and get in those big early holes because then you get out of phase. I mean, I almost feel bad for Chuba and Rico because they've got 35 carries between them in 2 games. How many per game is that? Quick.
17 and a half.
Look at you.
Ooh.
So proud. Girl math. No, you're great at this as long as we're dividing by 2.
Right.
And that's just not enough carries in a game.
No.
17 and a half carries is a good half for the Dave Canales Carolina Panthers if they're where they want to be. So there was a lot of talk this week about getting those guys back in phase, staying on the front foot, because that's when everything's better. I mean, when you think back to last year when the offense was making so many strides, it was when Chuba was getting those dirty yards, keeping chains moving. Just getting in that Chuba Hubbard rhythm. He is not the most explosive back in the NFL. He's not the biggest back in the NFL. But, man, that dude loves a good 4-yard run on 3rd and 3. And he had a bunch of them last year. So I think being able to keep those chains moving, stay in control of the phase of the game you want to be in, I think is going to be critical for him this week.
Yeah. That can change the whole game. You don't start in an early deficit, then you can actually be balanced. You can have a balanced attack. Do we see that? Do we see Rico get more involved if that's the case as well? Because right now he's kind of been exclusively like a 3rd down guy, just unless it's been a series. So does that get Trevor Etienne in there more just to kind of give them a spell? I don't know. I think a score early, or at the very least, don't let them get on top of you early, and then we'll start to see what Dave actually wants to do with this running attack.
Yep, that's right. It's going to be – I just think it's critical. I think you've got to get those guys involved just to buy time, if nothing else, because those early deficits have come so early the last couple of weeks. I mean, just breathe a little bit. Get a first down, punt if you need to. Don't turn it over. You got to build confidence a little bit at a time. That's why people always joke about the wisdom of John Fox, but the man said a punt is not a bad play.
Yeah.
And if you go 3 plays and punt on your first series, that's not necessarily a disaster because there's going to be 7 or 8 series after that when you've got opportunities to do stuff. It's a lot worse to make a mistake with the ball early on because that's how you get in some of those early deficits.
You know, Steve Spurrier famously punted on 3rd down one time because he was so tired of seeing what the offense did. He just pulled him off the field.
I love that.
He was like, I just had to get rid of it. I couldn't watch him another play.
He was trying to save time so he could get to a golf course, I believe.
That's probably true.
Anyway, but big weekend. I mean, home opener here at Bank of America Stadium. It's good to be home, friends.
Finally.
More than anything else. I mean, nothing against our dear friends in Jacksonville and Arizona, where I have many dear friends. But it's good to be home. It's good to not get on that airplane. It's good to be back in front of familiar faces here at Bank of America Stadium and just settle in a little bit. I think that's going to be big for this team as well. So come on out to Bank of America Stadium on Sunday. Black helmets.
Yeah, very exciting.
How about that? Black helmets are back.
This is one of their best looks.
Dudes love wearing the black helmets. It's one of those
when
things.
They wear them.
I am admittedly past the demographic to talk about black helmets. I'm an old person, but yeah, guys love it. It looks cool, so check that out. Hey, speaking of throwbacks and old, you went back. We had talked about this before. You're circling back and spending all your free time that you have watching 10-year-old football. So you were enjoying the Carolina Panthers from 15.
I got home last night. It was like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to watch tonight? And then I was like, oh, yeah, the Week 3 game against the Saints from 2015.
That's right. That was a good one to watch.
It was a good one. It was interesting because, like, when it first started and I realized what's going on, I'm like, no Drew Brees. No Luke Kuechly. Why? Like, what are we doing in this game? What are we watching? And you could tell that there was no Kuechly on that field for a good portion of it because Luke McCowan, who I have learned is Josh McCowan's brother since, he was throwing it all over the field. He was dinking and dunking.
Yep.
But he had some big throws. Like, it was impressive. And he got on top of them there in that first quarter and a half. I think it was like 10 minutes left in the second quarter before Cam touched the ball for the second time.
Yeah.
And then once he got out there, it is funny to go back and watch these games because you think of like, oh, that team only lost 1 game in the regular season. Like, you remember the big picture stuff, and then you go back and you watch the game play by play, and you're like, he was throwing to Greg Olsen and Greg Olsen only. And you've got your tight end out there running routes that pick up 52 yards. Yeah. And it was like 50 of it was on air. But once Newton hit Olsen for like I said, a 52-yarder. Most of it was on air. After that, the offense kind of opened up. It was a rainy day. There were black end zones though, so that was fun.
That's right.
I did not realize that Mike Shula was the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers in 2015. And when the announcer said that, as somebody who grew up watching football in Alabama, I got a little bit of like shell shock. Like, what? The same Mike Shula?
The very same.
And I have now watched 2 games because I missed last week. And in those 2 games.
She skipped the Week 2 game against Houston when Cam Newton, oh, by the way, just decided to do a complete somersault over the Houston Texans defensive line.
I'll go back and watch that one. But somehow in these 2 games, I've seen Greg Olsen touchdowns get pulled back for offensive PI twice now. Like, it's just weird that it's happened twice. There was a ball don't lie moment in there that was cool. Like, the review gave the Saints a first down on a 4th down that was a little iffy. And then that drive ended when they fumbled it and Roman Harper returned it for a little bit. There was a random grandfathered promo in there, an old Fox show that got canceled after 1 season that, like, I still think about every now and then, that I'm mad that it got canceled because it was such a good
with that.
John Stamos and Paget Brewster. It was such a good show and it only got 1 season, and I still hold Fox accountable for canceling it. It's always cool to see Cam give the ball to a kid. And then, I knew they won the game because I knew there was only 1 loss in that 2015 regular season. But there was a 1:53 left. The Saints are driving, only down by 5. They are into Panthers territory. They're on like the 30-yard line. And I'm like, did I remember wrong? Is this the game they lost? Like, what is going on? And then Josh Norman picks it off in the end zone to end the game.
That's right.
As apparently he is apt to do, I've heard.
Yeah.
And like, I legitimately yelled in the I was like, oh, like I was watching this game live and didn't know how it ended.
I don't want to spoiler alert this for you. But Josh had a number of those
during
the 2015
now I'm excited
season.
to see which ones they are.
So brace yourselves for more plays by Josh Norman. I love that when you go Throwback Thursday and watch these games from 15, you have now learned that Jonathan Stewart's good at football.
I told him that yesterday, by the way.
And you've also learned that Greg Olson also
really
was good at football before he was a television announcer. So those are two salient points. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well done, number one.
It was fun.
You are on it, and we'll kind of continue. We'll keep tabs on that over the course of the season, watching those old games. But a big one here this weekend. Yeah. So come join us Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock, Bank of America Stadium. Thanks to everybody in the studio. DL was able to keep his head out of our shot today. Matt's got everything buttoned up behind the scenes. Thank you especially to our friends at Deep Eddy. Don't forget your Carolina Panthers tailgate packs to get ready for the weekend. Push the button, enter now to enter the Deep Eddy Vodka Sweepstakes. That's easy for me to say. Enter between September 15th and October 26th to enter the sweepstakes for 2 tickets to the Deep Eddy Vodka Suite at the Panthers-Saints game on November 9th. So make sure to take care of all that. For Cassidy G. Hill, for Darren N. Gant, for all our friends here in the studio, for my duck friend. We're going to have to come up with a name for him. We will see you next week on the Happy Half Hour.